In the serene embrace of a seemingly peaceful neighborhood, a dark shadow looms, ready to shatter lives. Picture a small, charming town where the streets hum with the quiet routine of everyday life. It is here that Cecilia, a vibrant 21-year-old, seeks a fresh start. She moves into a cozy apartment hoping to leave behind a past marked by chaos and heartbreak. Yet this new beginning is anything but calm, as old shadows creep back into her life. But as night falls, so does the veil of tranquility, uncovering a sinister plot. A scream pierces the night, a chilling echo through the quiet streets. Cecilia has been found, lifeless, her dreams forever silenced. As dawn breaks over the neighborhood, a horrified neighbor discovers Cecilia's body sprawled in the hallway of her apartment building, an image that would haunt the community for years to come. The immediate shock spreads like wildfire, stirring neighbors from their beds, faces etched with disbelief and fear. The tranquility of the morning is shattered, replaced by the chaotic arrival of police cars and flashing lights. Officers move swiftly, cordoning off the scene with yellow tape, their faces set in grim determination. Detectives begin their meticulous work, combing through the scene for any clue, any piece of evidence that might speak for Cecilia. The air is tense, thick with the scent of tragedy and the silent questions of those who watch from behind closed doors. Who could commit such a heinous act in their peaceful enclave? As the sirens wail, a deeper, darker story begins to unfold. Behind every smile and every handshake, secrets fester, waiting to be unearthed. In the aftermath of Cecilia's tragic demise, the quiet of the neighborhood was pierced not just by the sirens of police cars, but by the murmurs of dark secrets long buried. As the investigation unfolded, three figures stood stark against the backdrop of this grim tapestry. Dylan, the ex-boyfriend, Judd, the supportive friend, and Maddo, the neighbor with an affable facade. Dylan, with his brooding presence and a history of volatile love, was the first to draw suspicion. His past with Cecilia was tumultuous, marked by passionate reunions and bitter partings. Initially, his alibi seemed ironclad. He was at a local bar, a fact corroborated by multiple witnesses. But as the night of the murder was dissected, cracks began to appear in his timeline. Judd, always the shoulder Cecilia leaned on, painted a picture of loyalty. Yet beneath this veneer, investigators discovered a complex layer of emotions. His proximity to Cecilia, coupled with undisclosed feelings, cast a shadow of doubt. His alibi? A solitary evening at home, conveniently unverifiable. Then there was Maddo, the neighbor whose charm belied a more sinister undertone. His initial statements were a blend of shock and concern, but his past, marred by brief flashes of aggression, soon came to light. Maddo claimed he was out for a late-night walk during the time of the murder, a weak alibi that did little to dispel the growing suspicion around him. Amidst the weaving of these personal histories, peculiar clues surfaced. The presence of hot dog buns at the crime scene, a detail as bizarre as it was baffling, hinted at a narrative far removed from a simple break-in or a random act of violence. These buns, trampled and scattered, seemed almost a cryptic message left in the chaos of the crime. Each clue, a whisper from the shadows, guiding the detectives deeper into the labyrinth of deceit. In the game of trust, the most dangerous threats often wear familiar faces. As detectives delved deeper into the murder of young Cecilia, they began peeling back the complex layers of each suspect's life. It was a meticulous process, examining the intertwining relationships and past behaviors that might have driven someone to commit such a heinous act. The first suspect was Judd, Cecilia's supportive friend. Initially, his steadfast presence offered comfort, but as detectives sifted through his past, they uncovered a series of aggressive confrontations between him and Cecilia. Each incident, previously dismissed as minor, now painted a troubling picture of a friendship marred by underlying tension and unspoken resentment. Next, they revisited the volatile ex-boyfriend, Dylan. His history with Cecilia was fraught with emotional turbulence. Interviews with friends and acquaintances revealed a pattern of possessiveness and jealousy. His fingerprints at the scene were damning, yet they weren't conclusive enough to place him at the murder site at the critical time. The investigation then turned to the seemingly friendly neighbor, Maddo. On the surface, Maddo was a pleasant individual, always ready with a greeting or a helping hand. However, the deeper the detectives dug, the darker the revelations became. A dive into his past unearthed records of violent behavior, previously sealed away by time and shadow. This discovery aligned disturbingly well with the physical evidence collected at Cecilia's apartment. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together, the evidence increasingly pointed to Maddow. The hot dog buns, an odd clue at first glance, became significant. A footprint on a squashed bun matched Maddow's shoes, contradicting his statement of never having been in Cecilia's apartment that fateful night. As alibis crumbled and past wounds resurfaced, the true antagonist began to emerge from behind the curtain of normalcy. A single footprint on a crushed hot dog bun. Sometimes justice hinges on the smallest details. In the heart of a crime scene that seemed to offer more questions than answers, a seemingly innocuous piece of evidence becomes a pivotal breakthrough. This is not just any footprint. It matches the unique tread pattern of shoes owned by Maddow, the neighbor everyone trusted. The forensic team meticulously analyzes and compares this print to the shoes taken from Maddow's home. The conclusion is irrefutable. Maddow was undeniably there at the scene at the time of Cecilia's tragic demise. The role of forensic evidence in this case cannot be overstated. It's not merely about the presence of Maddow at the crime scene, it's about placing him there during the critical moments. This evidence becomes the linchpin in the case against him, transforming what could have been circumstantial into something concrete and undeniable. As the handcuffs click around Maddow's wrists, his face reveals the turmoil within. He attempts to weave a story of innocence, claiming a coincidental visit, a mistaken time. But the evidence speaks louder than his denials. His past, marked by violent outbursts, aligns too closely with the brutality of the act. With each piece of forensic evidence laid out, the image of the friendly, helpful neighbor dissipates, replaced by the visage of a man capable of murder. With a footprint sealed in fate, the mask of the friendly neighbor finally falls away. As gavel strikes, a chapter closes, but the echoes of betrayal linger in the air. In the quiet courtroom, the final verdict seals the fate of Maddow, sentenced to life for the murder of young Cecilia. As the judge declared the sentence, the courtroom, heavy with anticipation, let out a collective sigh, some of relief, others of sorrow. The trial, laden with forensic evidence and emotional testimonies, painted a vivid picture of a man who wore a mask of friendliness, hiding his turbulent past. This case, unraveling in a small, tight-knit community, shook the very foundations of trust among neighbors. The streets where children once played without care now carried a somber tone, a reminder of the darkness that had passed through. Reflecting on the tragedy, it becomes clear how crucial it is to look beyond the facades people construct. Cecilia's story, a grim tapestry of deception and violence, teaches us that beneath the surface, complex and sometimes dangerous realities are often hidden. Justice may restore order, but the scars of deceit remind us to look beyond the surface. In the quiet corners of everyday lives, unknown stories of darkness await. Today, we've journeyed through the unsettling narrative of Cecilia's murder, a tale that peeled back the layers of a seemingly tranquil neighborhood to reveal a heart of betrayal and violence. The murder of Cecilia, a young woman poised to start anew, was not just a tragic event, but a brutal reminder of the masks people wear. Her story unfolded in a place where everyone appeared friendly and every smile seemed genuine. Yet, beneath the surface, a storm of hidden resentments and buried histories brewed, culminating in a fatal encounter. This investigation took us from the eerie calm before the storm, through the winding paths of deceit, to the ultimate unmasking of a killer. It serves as a poignant lesson about the dangers lurking behind familiar faces and seemingly safe environments. Until we meet again, remember, the most ordinary places can hide the most extraordinary secrets. Stay vigilant, stay safe.